War with Iran. What could go wrong? War with Iran. So we got Tim Dillon and, of course, Bernie Sanders talking about this and how we must not be dragged into another war. But it looks like we are going to be dragged into another war. And unfortunately, there's no way out. Again, for my patron supporters, I'm going to repost the link to the original video of my video in the Hiroshima Memorial Museum, because it is just still shocking that even after the devastation of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, that we now have weapons 100 times more powerful than what was dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki pointed at each other. And yet here we have Israel and Iran going back and forth, and the United States could potentially be dragged in. And you know something? I don't like the idea of any other country being dragged in, because all what this war will do is cause more pain and suffering. Now, I want to pull up this video here with Tim Dillon here because I think he's hitting the mark. So let's go ahead and play it.
Israel is fighting a proxy war on behalf of the UK, just like Ukraine is on behalf of the West of Western Europe against Russia. We have
Stop
to get
it right
serious.
there. Israel is fighting a proxy war on behalf of the United Kingdom? Is that the most insane thing anyone's ever heard? Are people right now in the United Kingdom, is their biggest problem Iran? What is this woman speaking of? What is she talking about? What is anyone talking? Is Iran the reason that no one can afford a house? Is Iran the reason that there's fentanyl everywhere? Is Iran the reason that we've got political corruption? Is Russia the reason? Is Iran the reason that we have 12 people that own everything in this country? Is Iran the...
Hold on, I want to pull this up here from Prim54, who writes, remind me of the countries that have dropped nukes so far. There's only one country to drop 2 nukes on another country. The United States. Just throwing it out there. Just throwing it out there.
Reason that we have, an epidemic of poison food that's killing people and children. And is Iran the reason for any of this? Is Iran the reason that corporations in America just pillage and leave a trail of death and destruction in their wake? Is Iran the reason we have no health care? I mean, this is the most insane thing I've ever heard. She's saying Iran's the enemy of the UK because people pop off. The mullahs in Iran talk a lot of shit. What are they doing? Did Iran attack the UK? Did Iran attack the United States of America? Is Russia attacking the United Kingdom or the United States of America? Am I wrong? But when she says, just get her out of here. But when she says they're fighting a proxy war on behalf of us, and that's what the Ukraine is doing for Russia. It's on behalf of, number one, it's very dangerous to say because, number one, there's a lot of people in this country that are not trying to get in a war with Russia. I mean, we're not trying to do that. I don't want to be in a war with Russia. So this framing of the issue that I just don't agree with, that they're in a proxy war, your own society is collapsing. Your own society is declining perpetually, year after year. Annually, things get worse. People are fleeing. And you're out there saying the most important thing to the British working class or the American working class is that the Iranian regime is decapitated with Israeli airstrikes? Can you imagine knocking on the door of a double-wide trailer and grabbing a person who is 5 months away from being homeless in our country and asking them their biggest problem? How do you think the word Iran is going to come up much? How do we get in this position? Well, Iran. When your insurance won't cover a knee operation and you have to go bankrupt to replace your hip, is your main concern that Iran be decapitated? This is the craziest shit I've ever heard in my life.
And yet you have people who are cheering for war. Now, I would say that all of this could have been avoided, this whole war, Even the instability in Lebanon, or is it at the back and forth between Lebanon and Israel, and even Assad, the coup that happened where he had to flee from Syria, all this would not have happened if perhaps the Biden-Harris administration actually did call for a ceasefire before it got out of control in October of 2023. Imagine if, Biden or Kamala or one of those two or both of them, maybe the whole administration, decided to put the stop to Israel before any more bombings, before any more people died, before any journalists or first aid workers died, before any men, women, and children died. Can you imagine? We would not be in this spot if the Democrats actually had the balls to do something. And the thing is, it's the reason why our society is in a full decline is because of our politicians. It's because of the neoliberal policies that are implemented. And Bernie Sanders, while he's saying the U.S. must not be dragged into another Netanyahu war, Bernie, your good friend Joe Biden, your buddy, your pal, your best friend in the whole wide world, High Five Mountain, tried, or is it not tried? Maybe he did. Tried to pretend that everything was okay, even though his brain was melting. Your good friend, Bernie Sanders, your good buddy and pal, allowed Netanyahu to do whatever he wanted. Brilliant move, brilliant tactic. As Iranian missiles were being shot down over Israel on Friday following the IDF's unprovoked bombings of Iranian targets earlier in the day, Senator Bernie Sanders condemned the government of extremist Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu for his ongoing deviance of international law that has made the world more dangerous and unstable, and trying to drag the United States into a dangerous new war in the Middle East. First, he used the starvation of children in Gaza as a tool of war, barbaric violations of the Geneva Conventions, declared Sanders in a statement. Now this illegal unilateral attack on Iran risks a full-blown regional war. Sanders said Israel's Friday's bombings and assassination attacks against Iranian targets, including nuclear program facilities, directly contrived the express wishes of the United States, and which was seeking a diplomatic resolution to the long-standing tensions around Iran's nuclear program. While a new round of diplomatic talks between the U.S. and Iran were slated to begin Sunday, said Sanders, Netanyahu chose instead to launch an attack, and a move seen by critics as an overt effort to sabotage a negotiation agreement. The U.S. must make it clear that we will not be dragged into another Netanyahu war, said Sanders. Along with the international community, we should do everything possible to prevent an escalation of this conflict and bring the warring parties to a negotiating table. Well, that's great, Bernie. I wish you had that same kind of power and sauce when your friend Biden, Joe Biden, was in power. But you didn't do that, did you, Bernie? You didn't do that at all. And of course, Iran, Israel's trying to prevent Tehran from reaching a nuclear deal with the U.S., the Iranian foreign minister said in a press conference, since the escalation between the Islamic Republic and Israel began on Friday. The sixth round of talks between Washington and Tehran, which had been scheduled to take place in Oman on June 15th, was canceled after Israel launched airstrikes against Iran on Friday in what the Islamic Republic had called a declaration of war. Iran responding by launching multiple volleys of ballistic missiles at targets in Israel, including the country's largest city, Tel Aviv. The countries continued to exchange strikes overnight during the day on Sunday, with Israel attacking Iran's energy infrastructure and what it called sites related to the Iranian regime's nuclear weapons project. Tehran fired more missiles at targets in Israel, including near Haifa and Tel Aviv. At least 10 people were reportedly killed and around 200 wounded in those attacks. In his comments on Saturday, he reiterated the Iranian authorities maintain a firm conviction not to possess a nuclear weapon. However, he noted that those who are willing to deprive Iran of our right to possess a nuclear program for peaceful purposes, they have no right to do so. This is a crystal clear matter, and this is in turn calling out Israel is not willing to see us reach an agreement or diplomatic solution with the United States. So in turn, what can we take away from this? Well, you got Bernie saying don't drag us into another war, and of course you got Tim Dillon stating, hey, it's not Iran's fault that we don't have health care. It's not Iran's fault that our society is collapsing. It's not Iran's fault that we don't have clean drinking water. It's not Iran's fault that we have corrupt politicians. It's not Iran's fault that everything is falling apart all around us 24/7. And it's not Iran's fault that our own corporate media is completely incompetent. The blame lies squarely on our politicians and their corporate owners, donors. That's who caused all the problems. The reason why things are bad for all of us right now is because of these jagoff politicians. The reason why things are so terrible right now is because of what these politicians have put upon us. If you're not angry about it, you should be. And no, you shouldn't be you know what? Yeah, go ahead and protest. But if you're going to be protesting in front of Trump Tower, I would suggest protesting in front of these politicians' offices. I would suggest protesting in front of these jagoffs who constantly lead us into these foreign wars. Call out these influencers who are more than happy to cheerlead for war. I mean, MAGA, listen. Because I'm noticing you guys are going to be going through something that happened with the left, okay? After 2016. And I think it's happening at a faster rate than I expected. And I know that RBN and Due Dissidents have talked about it. But hey, Hard Lens Media is going to talk about it too. MAGA. You know, I do remember in 2024, Trump was running on being anti-war. Or is it at not dragging us into war? Look, I'm all for it, right? But war in Ukraine isn't over. Genocide in Gaza is still happening. And now we got this fresh out the oven war with Iran happening. If you're not angry about this, you should be. And the fact that you have people who are cheerleading this on, you need to question, okay, when the nukes start dropping, you think those same influencers are going to give a damn about you? Like all these people who are saying, well, I don't have a decision. I don't have a thought on war. I don't have a thought on this war in Iran. What do you think? Well, here's what Hard Lens Media thinks about the war in Iran. Okay? I don't like it. I don't like this war between Iran and Israel happening because, yes, potentially I could see the United States being dragged into this. And could another global superpower be dragged into this? Fine. And then it becomes a big kids fight. United States, what, versus Russia and China? They got nukes and so do we. And as somebody who has seen the devastation of what one atomic bomb can do to a city and going through the artifacts and the testimonials at the Hiroshima Memorial Museum, you will walk out of that museum a changed person. All right, and I'm just speaking for myself because when I walked in there, I did not feel the same. I felt sadness. I felt fear because the fact that we still live in a day and age where we have these weapons of mass destruction pointed at each other. And this war between Iran and Israel will not be like how all the other wars we've seen before. Hell, right now we're lucky that the Ukraine war didn't even escalate into something further, and it still potentially can because that war is still happening. Where's the outrage? Hey, no King's March protesters. You need to be out there in the streets right now. Everybody, on the left and the right. Do you not see the danger in this? My God, we could all get killed. Vaporized, an atomic fire. Is that what we want? Is that the legacy we want to leave behind for our species? Because it looks like we're on that path, and these politicians are leading us down there. But consistency is key. Because Democrats, I'm looking at you, and you are more than happy to let Netanyahu go wild. Hell, there was a documentary in which they were thanking Biden for having a hands-off approach. Maybe it's because Biden didn't even know where he was at. How do we recover from this madness when knowing all too well that one wrong move and kaboom, that's it for everybody? We're vaporized, gone. We shouldn't be dragged into this war, and there should be immediate ceasefire. But then again, what I want doesn't usually happen, does it?